Good afternoon. My name is Jacob Trillo, and today I'll be sharing my consulting recommendations for Cambridge caregivers. This project focused on understanding why clock in and clock out errors keep happening and identifying practical, low cost ways to fix the issue. I'll walk through what I found, how I analyze the problem, and what steps Cambridge caregivers can take moving forward. So let's move on to the table of contents. So first, I'll start with an overview of my recommendations, then I'll explain the problem and how I approached it. After that, I'll go through the framework I used to analyze the issue, followed by the project timeline and the implementation timeline. I'll also share a few additional recommendations and wrap it up with a brief summary. Okay, so my recommendation overview. My main recommendation is to strengthen how caregivers are trained and supported when using the timekeeping system. By improving onboarding, adding refresher training, and reinforcement communication through reminders and confirmation steps, excuse me, Cambridge caregivers can reduce missed or incorrect clock-ins and clock-outs, and this improves payroll accuracy, it lowers workload on the schedulers, and it helps caregivers feel more confident using the system. Okay, so the problem statement. The issue at Cambridge caregivers isn't just that caregivers forget to clock in or out. The real problem is that many caregivers don't really feel fully confident using the timekeeping technology when people aren't sure if they've done something correctly. Small mistakes happen. And those mistakes can create payroll errors and extra work for schedulers. So this project is going to focus on training, communication, and how the system is used. It did not include changing software, staffing, or patient care process. And Adam, the CEO, addressed that this was the main issue. Approach and methodology. To understand the problem, I spoke directly with the people involved. I interviewed Adam to understand how timekeeping errors affect operations and payrolls, and I also interviewed multiple caregivers. And every caregiver I spoke with mentioned some level of difficulty or uncertainty when clocking in and out. I then reviewed the timekeeping process step by step to see where confusion occurs. I also looked at how similar home care agencies handle onboarding, and this approach helped me make sure my recommendations are based on real feedback and observable patterns, not just assumptions. So this is the framework I use. I use a SWOT analysis, and Cambridge Caregivers has strong systems in place dedicated to schedulers and caregivers who deeply care about the clients. And at the same time, there are weaknesses, including inconsistent training after onboarding, low confidence with the timekeeping system, and no clear confirmation that a clock in or clock out was successful. There are clear opportunities to improve training materials, add reminders, and reduce payroll corrections. The biggest risks are continued errors, added strain on schedulers, and potential caregiver frustration. This analysis shows that improving training and communication directly addresses the root cause of the issue. So let's look back at the timeline. So looking back at the project, I started by gathering information through interviews and reviewing current workflow, and I then analyzed the findings using SWOT framework and validated the root cause with caregiver feedback. And finally, I developed a set of recommendations and an implementation plan. Excuse me. So the timeline forward outlook. So looking ahead, the plan is broken into three categories. In the short term, Cambridge caregivers can roll out refresher training and provide a simple one-page guide for new hires and start sending reminders at the beginning and end of shifts. Over the next few months, the organization can assign tech support contact, track error rates, and offer follow-up coaching for caregivers who need extra help. And in the long term, Cambridge caregivers can evaluate whether small system improvements are needed and make training a permanent part of onboarding and review payroll accuracy trends to measure success. And additionally, they can also change the UI so it's simpler for the caregivers to use. So my additional recommendations. Beyond the main, more conventional recommendations I identified, one of the ideas I came up with was a tech buddy system that pairs new caregivers with experienced ones during their first couple weeks. Another is a short weekly message that shares common mistakes and quick tips. And finally, there's a 30-day check-in for new hires that can help catch issues early on and reinforce confidence. My closing summary. So In conclusion, the clock in and clock out issues at Cambridge caregivers are not caused by broken technology, they're caused by gaps in training and communication. By reinforcing onboarding, providing ongoing support, and adding simple reminders and confirmation steps, Cambridge caregivers can improve payroll accuracy, reduce operational strain, and help caregivers feel more confident. And these are all practical changes that can be implemented rather quickly and sustained over time. Thank you for your time. This was my consultation presentation. Thank you.